Okay. Continuing in Halacha, Erev Shabbat Kodesh. Today is the third of Mar Cheshvan, the Yortzeit of Rav Ovadia. Hashem, Zuchuto Yegen Aleinu. We're going to learn in His honor, and Zat Hashem. Hopefully, Hashem will give a bracha to the whole world in His zechut. So, Siman Hey, Kavanat Abrahot, Ubo Seif Echad. You have over here the fifth Siman in the Shulchan Aruch, like a chapter. And it's going to have one halacha, seif. Aleph, yichaven, it means you have to have kavanot, meaning intentions, you have a proper concentration in the middle of a blessing. Yichaven v'brachot pirush hamilot. So the most important, what people forget this generation, everybody loves to know Kabbalistic explanations, everybody loves this concept of Zohar, and all this beautiful Ma'alot and Kedusha of Tahora, which the Hadgasha, the emphasis over here, Ma'alot, the heights of Kedusha and Tahora, holiness and purity, which means very simple. If a person wants to connect to the aspect of Zohar, of holiness, of this beautiful, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's book, that presents this world, brings down the holiness and purity, and you want to be part of it, there's only one way to be part of such Torah, and that is to practice and live it. If you're a person who are careful and striving to become Kadosh and Tahor, and you are at least in the footsteps of purity, right, then you are permitted somewhat to try and to see if your neshama will be elevated by performing stricter rules of purity that's brought down in Zohar that everybody likes to jump. And the reason why we know it's actually a bad connotation by people to jump into Zohar and gravitate towards Zohar, because we know it's Eitzer Hara, because Eitzer Hara wants to destroy you. And since he wants to destroy you, he knows that when you reach for heights and you're not in the level of reaching the heights, and you're not even in the baby steps of reaching the heights, you will fall down, and that will be the best thing for the Satan. And unfortunately, we see that throughout the world, big time. And if you are already a 60-year-old and you're trying to practice something for the past 30, 40 years, you're learning Zohar, and you're still religious Jew, it's a beautiful miracle. But you have to know it takes steps. It's a long process to be a Kabbalist of stature of Kabbalist, or to be on that high level. It's a many years practice. And before you open a book not talking about many years, like 5-10 years. I'm talking about like 30-40 years when you are practicing simple Shulchan Aruch, and it's engraved in you, and you're not deviating by a little inch from it. Then you could probably start taking on you more heights. People don't understand that. They hear Rabbonim. The Rabbonim are not. It's a fault of teachers. Like I said, if you see somebody who's not a proper behavior, blame it on his rabbi. He's not doing proper things. He's not teaching him properly. The rabbi has to stress, and very important, before you take on high holiness of Zohar and what the teachings of Zohar, Kabbalah, you have to understand. First, do the pirush, simple thing, Shulchan Aruch. The first thing, Shulchan Aruch, simplicity of the simplicity, and then, only then, when you are 100% engrossed in the Shulchan Aruch, when you have no doubt that you're following the halacha without any problems, then you could maybe take on yourself and try to learn what is the second level or the third or the fourth level of Zohar and go on heights. Fortunately, the Satan is fooling us, and everybody gravitates to Zohar because they think they feel good, but it's a feeling of falsehood. It's a feeling from Satan to entice you and to continue, because he knows in the end you're going to fall. And even if you're not going to fall, you're going to go for the next 40 years, continue thinking that you're doing something from Zohar, and you're actually doing something for Sitra Achra, for the evil powers of the world, and not for Hashem. Because if you're not elevated, if you are not walking in the street, putting your head down, and not looking at ladies, not exposing yourself to frivolous views of the world, you're saying, I could learn Zohar because I don't get affected by looking at the naked ladies. Somebody tells me, I work in a flea market, Rabbi, and I'm exposed to all the Tumah in the world. It has zero effect on me, and yet this person could learn Zohar. He learns the books of Kabbalah and this and that, and he thinks, and he could talk about it also. But then he tells me privately that those girls in the flea market, they don't affect me nothing. Like I'm like the big Tanaim, when they used to dance with women, and they write the Kalah. Rabbi Yochanan used to throw up the Kalah. The Chachamim, the Tanaim used to see women. They thought they were like chickens in front of them. They have no effect on them. Okay, so on one side is he thinks he's a Kabbalist. On the other side, he sees all this pritzut, and he thinks it's such a level. It's a show. It's a shame that people don't understand. First, learn Shulchan Aruch, and the rabbi over here says, Siman, hey, first Pirush HaMilot. You must understand the words first. Before anything, before you start understanding that Yud K, Vav K really means that Hashem was, will be, and was, is, and will be, and what it means. It doesn't mean just that. It really means that Hashem was, He created. Well, I'm not going to say too much now. Whatever it is, start going into understanding. First, understand first thing. What is Hashem? People don't even understand what Hashem is. They're already jumping into Zohar. Yud Kei Vav Kei Kulo Tov. Be a good person. Be a good person for 1 year. Don't scream at anybody. You want to know if you're a proper Kabbalist? Be for 1 month. 1 month, don't get angry. You reach that task? Then you could talk to me, understand what Yud Kei Vav Kei and really what means was, is, and will be. Before you go into understanding what was, is, and will be, go for 30 days. Test yourself. For 30 days, don't get angry at anything. Then we can start talking. People get angry. Angry? Called Mamadaka. Hashem does not have a nuance of anger in Him. A nuance. Hashem has zero anger in Him. He has no feeling of anger. And you could tell me, I understand what Hashem is. I know the depth. I understand the Yud means this, and the Kots, and this. And he has all the Kabbalahs of Rashash. He takes a book of Siddur of Rashash, and he says, I'm a Kabbalist. Ooh! But he gets angry as soon as he gets out of the shul. He drives a car, a guy cuts him off. Go for 30 days. I'll give you a challenge. Go for 7 days. Don't get angry. I highly doubt one day you'll go without anger. Before you learn Zohar. Before you understand, before you try to understand Zohar, it's great. Zohar is good for us. No, it's not. You can't be involved in holiness if you're not holy. And holiness does not mean I'm not looking only at women. Holiness means I don't scream, I don't get angry. Not that I don't scream, I don't get angry. There are people who get angry, they don't scream. There are psychopaths like this, and in the end they kill people. They don't scream at people, right? It's so gentle. And then in the end, as soon as they have opportunity, they cut the throat of the person. Without anger, they're not angry. Yeah, don't show an anger. Chas v'shalom. Be for 1 week. Let's take a challenge. If you're a person that you think you're holy, you're holding by Zohar, take 1 week that you don't get angry at anybody. You don't get angry in anything, not by showing, in your heart. If you're not angry in your heart for 1 week, then you could tell me, I learned Kabbalah and I learned the meanings of Hashem's names, and when I say Baruch, it means this and this and this and this and that. And Ata means this and this and this and that, and it takes me 3 hours to get to daven. You saw Rabbi Mahmoud, 3 hours Shemona Esrei. People will tell you they never saw the rabbi regret anything or get angry. Okay, now you're talking business. Rabbi Kaduri, Shemona Esrei, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Every Shemona Esrei, not one. All his life. Saw him angry? You'll never hear one report he got angry. First rule, you want to learn Kabbalah, Zohar, this is the test for you. Don't get angry for 1 week on anything. Come to me and we'll start talking about learning deep understandings of Tefillah. First thing Shulchan Aruch says, Pirush HaMilut. You have to understand what you're saying first. Shiyaskir Hashem. Now, right away, you see the rabbi, Kabbalist, Kabbalah. When you mention Hashem's name, you have to understand Pirush Kriyato be'adnut shu Adon HaKol. When you say Hashem is the master, that He's the master of all. When you see the word spelled Aleph Dalet Nun, right? With Yud, I'm sorry. Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, that means He's the master of all. However, Yichaven b'chtivato beYud Hey, that when you see the word Yud Hey Vav Hey. Okay, so meaning over there you have a different intentions. ובהזכירו אלוקים יכוון שהוא תקיף בעל היכולת בעל הכוחול כולם, and then when you mention Hashem Elokim, so this is Shulchan Aruch. But the first thing is, before we go that far, if you tell me, right, you see Shulchan Aruch looks like you have to have kavanot when you say Hashem's name. Yeah, of course you do. Kavanot, no. Right now, understanding first. And if you want to go deeper, let's practice on not getting angry for a week. And B'ezrat Hashem, after that, you show me that 1 week I didn't get even angry, not out loud. In my mind, I didn't get angry. We could start talking about maybe Kabbalah. Shabbat Shalom.